It's time for another Breba tasting video. This is Chris with Oregon Figs. This one here is from a Mount Etna. It's called Black Greek Marius, or BGM, as I like to refer to it. Very tight eye. Looks extremely soft at the neck. This looks a lot like a main crop fig. If you had a main crop fig, and I'm getting buzzed by a bee. If you had a main crop fig and this Breba next to each other, you'd have a hard time telling them apart. I just picked this. So we're going into a stretch of 5 days, I think it is, around 100. Today's supposed to be 100. It's 90 degrees right now with 33% humidity. We haven't seen rain in over 2 months. So let's take a look at this Breba. Had the tree for either 4 or 5 years. This is the first Breba it's produced. And if you want to learn more about Breba, watch my Breba video that I just put out this year. It has a lot to do with Breba from the Mount Etna's being a one-off kind of thing. And this is a one-off. So let's give this a cut. I don't know if I can cut this with one hand with this particular knife. Okay, it passed the test. And there it is. Really pretty. Boy, it looks a lot like a main crop. A little bit of a void in the center. Super dried. And this is what you get when you have 33% humidity and no rain for over 2 months. You get the figs are just drying on the tree. This fig, I can tell from the skin, is not going to have a tough skin. I can just tell from the feel. Once you have been out here in this area growing figs for a while, you can tell if a fig is going to have a super tough skin. Usually the big round figs, for some reason, like the Black Madeiras, if they're ripened without rain, have the tougher skin. I had an I-258 or 3 I-258 Brebas here yesterday that all had the super tough skin. So let's give this a try. I love my Mount Etna, as you guys all know that by now. Wow, it's hard to explain. If you haven't had a fig ripened in these conditions without any rain, it's hard to explain because I've had figs when it's been raining, and to me they taste pretty watered down because I'm comparing it to this. I'm sure they're still delicious, but I'm spoiled. I'll admit it, I'm spoiled. This is phenomenal. It's a piece of candy, it really is. This one was picked. Sometimes I leave them overnight and they're in the fridge to cool them off. In this case, I did not. I just picked it. So it isn't as firm as something that's set overnight would be. Okay, what do I taste? Okay, do I taste sugar? When you have a well-ripened fig, there's sugar and sweetness in every well-ripened fig. The difference is this is a berry fig. So with that sweetness, I'm getting delicious berries. I can pick out typically strawberry. That's the one you taste the most. Sometimes you get hints of raspberry, but just kind of a berry blend is what you get on a lot of the Etnas. They're wonderful figs, and if you're lucky enough to get a Breba and it ripens properly, they're spectacular figs. So how would I rate this against the other Brebas that I've had this year? It's right near the top, but see, the problem we have comparing figs in many instances when they're ripened in this hot temperature with the low humidity is that they begin to become so wonderful it's hard to really put a big gap between one and the other because they're so good. That's why when I do my ratings at the end of the year, my ratings are so close. People say, well, how can you tell? It's like just a slight difference. This one has a little thing that I like better. Maybe it has a little more berry. Maybe it's a little more gelatinous. Maybe it's a little more of a creamy flavor. Maybe it's me on that day. You know, I don't doubt that that could factor in as well. But the Mount Etnas, I've said this time and time again, they are wonderful in dry climates. Which brand you get, which model number you get, it really doesn't matter a whole heck of a lot. I've heard people say kind of not so nice things about the actual Chicago Hardy. I've never had it, so I don't know. I've tasted several. Some are bigger than others. I like Red Lebanese Bekaa Valley a lot because it's a little bit bigger and it seems a little earlier. But I'll tell you, this is a great fig, and it's a great group of figs. When people discount them and say, oh, they're not worth growing, they're not much of a challenge, that's not my cup of tea. Once again, this is that whole location-specific thing that I always talk about, is that different figs are going to perform differently depending upon where you're at. So there are figs that naturally are going to be better for warm, cooler climates that are humid, that have a shorter season. There's naturally going to be figs that are better for those climates. There are figs that are going to be better for dry climates with low humidity. The Etnas shine in this climate. And I've seen a lot of posts from people in hot, humid places that are totally into the Etnas as well. So the Etnas are a great group. If people are bashing the Etnas, try to cover your ears, because it's not true everywhere. Hey, thanks so much for watching. More Brebas. I just looked at the LDA on the in-ground tree. And by the way, this came off of an in-ground tree. And they are huge. And I've never tried one before. Just was driving up with my pickup up the driveway and pulled over. I haven't been at the orchard for 4 or 5 days. And there were some DKs. And I had one that was just a piece of candy. Incredible. And my wife picked yesterday and made jam. They're ripening in 1 day now. Hey, take care. We'll see you on the next one.